sit last week here and I told you what you're just saying today.
Yeah.
I told you that we do well as a country when we discuss issues,
yes,
regardless of who raises those issues. Okay? We do well always if we listen. I assure you that what has happened in Murang'a will not happen elsewhere. If for example, the leaders who are very selfish, if something was being done in Nyanza and they know it's harmful, they will not even talk about it. They will say, wacha wakufe huko. Okay? But Raila raised the matter because, one, he has information, which most of us don't have. And so you're saying, I have this information for the public, and I think the information I have should be, and by the way, since that time he's not talked about it again.
Yes.
He's allowed people to debate the matters, and I'm so happy. That is not called MPs speaking. It is not called politicians speaking. This whole last week, the reason you even see the MPs now there, is that the pressure from below, I've been watching news the whole week, the pressure from Wananchi in Murang'a has been too much, and that's why the MPs had now to have a meeting and discuss what the issues. And I'm happy that finally all of us are agreed. All of us agreed that there are issues that need to sort out. People were suffocated. People were almost tight-lipped. They couldn't speak because this is in under nyumba. We should, if you speak, something wrong will happen. But I'm happy that they're now wearing their voices. Yes. And even the 250 million shillings Zamalo is talking about is so little, in my opinion. How does he know that all the constituencies require 50 million only to do the piping? I think, or even that one, it's like a roadside declaration. Yes. They should go in and check which these constituencies will need how much to do proper piping of the water. And that alone, in my opinion, again, Fred, does not sort out the issues. They are like Honorable, we call him Rosafi. What is the member for Gatanga has said that it's not only about access to water. He said that we must address the environmental issues. Yes. The concerns about the environment that have been raised must be sorted out even as we do the water. Yes. So it's not about only access to water, it's about environment, it's about procurement, it's about being transparent in your government.
Yes. Politics of issues, because now you're saying even on our headlines now today it's not called Jubilee, it's politics of issues. And clearly when you see members of parliament from one county coming together and saying yes, now you need this, even the electorate feels, yeah, that's proper representation now.
I think this is a very critical issue, and last time I mentioned about this, we discussed about the issue of feasibility study. When you do a feasibility study of any project, you must be able to come out with some of the risks, and you must come up with the mitigating strategies. So one thing I want to thank Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga, when you do some trend analysis, he does not just wake up to say something for the sake of it. He talked about the issue of NYS, the issue of the Eurobond, and of course he has also raised another matter of Eurobond,
which we will discuss,
which has to be taken seriously. He mentioned about this thing of the water project, the tunnel, and with this climatic change, the risk of Murang'a people, if at all is in the feasibility study, being a desert, they will not grow the crops. They must look at the bigger picture, and I'm happy the leaders are coming up. And when you look at Article 35 of the Constitution, which talks about access to information that the state is being held, it is showing clearly that the elected leaders, the senators, were ignorant. They didn't know what was there. I've listened to the Deputy Speaker of the Senate, Kembi Gitura, saying we need to know the scientific, you know, that element, which means they didn't know. Yes. And these are the representatives of the people. If I were them, I'd even raise a motion of adjournment of the floor of the House to discuss this matter. It's not just about politics. This is something serious. It will affect the people of Murang'a and the environment. They'll not grow the crops. They'll have difficulties in terms of maybe having their animals. So such a matter, was it discussed? And from the look of things, it shows clearly there's a problem. Yes. The CS is coming and saying, we'll give 50 million each. 250 million. It is coming in as a compensation. So that risk, is it worth that compensation of 50 million? Yes. So the representative leaders of that area must be able to wake up. They must look at the bigger picture. Yes. What is going to happen if this project is going to be there? Yes. It's not just an issue of access to water. And that's why we say Hongera to Raila Amolo Odinga. Let's not look at the politics. And let's analyze these things critically. We've seen even Honorable Mugatana mentioning, said we were not involved. And this is a bigger picture. That's why even in Kilifi, these are critical matters. We must look into it, and it's upon the representatives of those people to wake up
Yes.
for their people.
Yes, Bwana Njogu Barua, it is clear, as Bwana Chris Wamalwa says, these leaders are the ones on the ground. They've been there all along since this project was started. No one spoke until Bwana Raila Odinga spoke. Clearly, as Bwana Wamalwa said, it's either they did not have any information, now is when they're demanding for scientific reports. Were they just watching something happen and ignoring it?
I think there's a very interesting and important topic for discussion. First and foremost, water is a natural resource. A natural resource belongs to every Kenyan. So in terms of the debate that took place yesterday, it would have been more representative to have the face of Kenya, because the effects on the ecological environment of Abadeas or Mount Kenya affects the environment in Kenya entirely, and maybe even beyond. So it is not really a local issue as people are putting it. When it comes to Raila Amolo Odinga, who has been commended by my two colleagues here, I think he's doing an excellent job as a leader of the opposition. And he has perfectly done it well in many ways. Good what he's trying to do, and I want to say that Jubilee, sometimes where I come from, we are falling victims of the same, is that Raila Odinga is doing the agenda setting. Once he set the agenda, then people are left discussing. Once they exhaust it, he sets another agenda. So what he's succeeding doing is keeping Kenyans discussing issues that may give him credit. And I think this is where we come as a nation to say, now let us look at the issue objectively. For example, the issue of the tunnel. What Raila raised is not whether Murang'a people have got water or not. He raised the issue of environmental impact of the area, environmental impact assessment. What is being discussed by our local leaders is the amount of money they benefit from it. Basically, I can say this is not a partisan issue, is that we are in a time whereby we are going to face elections next year. I don't want to be seen, wherever you come from, as having failed your people. In terms of such developments,
and in terms of you failing your people, I can see you're doing a very good job. On page 3, we have Gishugu, Member of Parliament, has embarked on a project to provide every homestead in the area with tap water.
Yes, I'm going to talk about it.
And you gave out a check of 52 million shillings at the weekend.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
When did you get that money? What is devolved?
Just a minute, just a minute.
Yeah, they say the money came from the CDF.
CDF, yes.
Yes.
So let me prosecute what I was doing before. This is actually I didn't give a check of 52 million. I initiated a project worth 52 million, so that you can mobilize resources from all over, from all sources, be the national county, to ensure that the Gishugu has got water, type water, and electricity by 2020. That's my vision. So what I was talking about before I lost track, the issue of Murang'a tunnel, or the connector tunnel. For a project of that magnitude to be approved or to take place, there must be an environmental impact assessment, and even a social impact assessment. One of the first one is to actually establish the impact of that project on the environment. The other one is the environmental impact and social impact. Once the social and environmental impacts are identified, then before the project is embarked on, we put in mitigation measures, so that we'll be able to counter that impact, those projected impact. So what must have happened is that there was an EIA which was conducted, those impacts were identified and mitigated upon. And this thing was done during the coalition government. So Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki were actually they formed the executive that time. So what my problem I have with Raila here is, if he knew the project has negative impact, and he sanctioned it as a prime minister, does that not amount to economic sabotage? Does that not amount to the same hypocrisy?
You know, the issues we are discussing were very important.
We were discussing. We'll get a response to that.
Yeah, but you respond. Yeah, but you see,
you're not blaming anybody. Bwana Ocheng, let him finish the questions, then I give you an opportunity to respond to it.
I think I have a lot of respect for Ocheng and Wamalwa, but now they are doing mob justice. It's also psychopathy here. I think Raila Odinga can protect himself, can defend himself. He is a competent fellow, the way I know him. So let's discuss this debate. So don't be emotional about it. So what I'm saying is, people should be made to take responsibility for whatever they do. If you knew something was bad in 2009, it could not be good this time. Or it was good that time, is not bad, is bad this time. People must be consistent. And so what I'm calling upon is this. Let us have the Committee of Environment in the National Assembly and the Committee of Environment, Water and Natural Resources in the Senate, and investigate this matter, and give Kenyan, and I actually belong to that committee, a concrete and informed position on the water tunnel.
Yes, now you can...
I'm happy that he's launching a project worth 15 million shillings for water in his constituency, 8 months to elections. Meaning that this is a project that will be done over more than...
No, I want to clarify that because now he is putting his one. This is a project I want to complete within the next 3 months. So if you want to know about my project, please ask me, I'll tell you.
Can I?
Okay, yes,
Bonoche. The things we do for Wananchi are not for ourselves.
I know.
If you're talking about water, I don't think 50 million shillings will give water to everybody else in that constituency. That I can assure you. But the idea is that projects that are done using CDF, national government money, these kind of things are continuous. The project Raila launched was a master plan that had so many other companies. Remember, it was a 160 billion project, and he says that within this project, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. And when we are doing them, we'll follow the law. We'll follow the requirement. So, claiming that Raila is being inconsistent, is just following up on what they launched. And what we are saying here is this, Fred, which is very important in my opinion, is that if we, and this has happened in almost everything else we've done in this country, we don't plan to do things well. And we now start firefighting along the way. Why, for example, have we had, we are doing the railway from Mombasa. It gets to a point in time, it stopped. Someone goes to court because we've not planned it all the way to the end. Okay? Even what you're talking about now, by the way, someone may go to court to stop it because of lack of public participation. A lot of money being lost, a lot of time being lost, something not being done right. So following the law and always look at the bigger picture. That if Nairobi gets water, Murang'a gets dry like the governor for Murang'a has said. If Nairobi gets water today and Murang'a remains dry, you've just transferred the problem from Nairobi to Murang'a. So the idea is, like he said, can we look at the larger picture. And the ecological system? It should help Murang'a as it helps Nairobi. And what the leaders are now saying is, we don't have a problem with this project, but let it be done according to plan, and even as we do it, let's take I want to respond to him because of time, and I'll give you an opportunity. Let's wrap up in this matter because we need to discuss a headline on the standard. But I'll give you an opportunity.
Before we move to that, Honorable Barua, whom I respect very much, I do agree with what he said. In fact, in any project, first of all, you start with a concept paper. Concept paper has to be done, feasibility studies, and the environmental impact analysis. And when you see any issue, whether environmental or maybe economic, whatever it is, you must have a mitigating strategy. What he did wrong is to come and say that Raila Odinga is an agent of economic sabotage for the people of Murang'a. If that was the issue, he shouldn't have raised the matter. We should congratulate him for raising that issue. Love just kept quiet. So whatever he's saying, he was misleading. Raila Odinga has demonstrated that he's a nationalist, isn't it? And he's concerned. And he went further to say, Honorable Michuki said, over his dead body. And of course he said never sanctioned that. When a report comes, it does not mean when you launch that report, it has positive and the negative. But when you go check where there's a mitigating strategies, maybe to help in terms of minimizing the risk, that's what should have focused on. So it isn't wrong for the government to come and implement something without going for public participation and to highlight those adverse effects as far as the environmental impact analysis is concerned for the people of Murang'a. Because they have demonstrated, they never participated, they didn't know anything. And when it comes to public participation, it's highlighted in Article 10 of the Constitution on principles of governance. So this is where we are saying it was wrong, but again it's misleading for my friend Honorable here, Barua here, to come and say Raila Odinga is economic sabotage agent, and yet he's the one who has brought up the issue. So can you withdraw the matter, my brother, so that we move on in discussing this issue?
Because now we need to move on to this other story. As you comment on that, you're at liberty to comment to withdraw or not. But as you said, when Raila Odinga appears to be setting the agenda.
Absolutely,
yes,
which is true.
Now he raised that matter last week. It was dismissed immediately, but now we are seeing that that's the matter that everyone is discussing, especially leaders from Murang'a County. Now he has come up this week and raised another issue. Yes.
Eurobond.
One to do with a possibility, a plan to get a second Eurobond.
Yes.
Which will be listed in the Irish Stock Exchange. Also the matter of the debt, which is related to that, Kenya's debt, which apparently we are borrowing at the rate of 843 million shillings per day.
Okay.
Will we see, we are seeing him being dismissed as well, because your leader of majority is already saying that the country is, what does it say, is quoted here on the front page of the Standard. Our global credit rating was revised from negative to stable. This is due to the country's positive growth performance under Jubilee. That's according to Aden Duale.
I think this debate is getting interesting, and I'm actually getting excited that anytime I mention the name of Raila Amolo Odinga, it's like I'm touching the hot live wire. I think I want to ask my colleagues here to hold your horses. Let's discuss Raila like any other Kenyan, like that we discuss Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, William Ruto, Kalonzo, and so forth. If the minute you put somebody beyond being discussed or being a subject of anything, then you're actually taking us a different direction. I want to clarify to Chris Omaro. I didn't say that Raila Odinga was an economic saboteur for the people of Murang'a. And in fact, I did not even mention the name Murang'a. I know he has got an affection for Murang'a, he's my friend. But the thing is, I said that could have amounted, to economic sabotage. Yes, exactly. No. And I started by saying that water is a natural resource which is nationally owned. So the issue is, Raila Odinga could have mentioned this issue when he was launching the report, long when he had the responsibility. Now the only purpose why he's raising this issue is not that you want to save the environment.
Can we discuss? No. You cannot keep misleading people and say you want to discuss. Then you lecture us about you can't lecture us on issues you don't know about. What Raila launched was a master plan. He didn't want this project. You can't keep lecturing people.
I think it would be better for us to move to the next headline about the debt issue now.
You can lecture us on things that are
as he prepares, I can take
because of time.
Let's talk about debt.
Let's talk about debt.
Okay, but
I think
no, you see, Raila never launched the
as he prepares about the debt. Can I pick it up?
You have to get it clearly. Raila has